Hello, hello, hello. So I'm Josh, but everybody calls me Joshy. I've been living in Latin America for about a year and 4 months. So people here call me Jose. And I just wanted to share my journey with BaseLang and overall kind of my journey with Spanish. So I was inspired to start learning Spanish really simply because I was planning to travel. I had lived all of my life in London. And yes, I'd been on holiday, yes, I'd stepped foot outside of the country, but I'd never lived abroad. And it became really desirable to me to live in a different country because I just felt emotionally that like if I died, then what a sad story it would be that like I'd lived my whole life in like one city and spent the majority of my time in one place in London, which is a place called Hackney, which is where I'm from. Shout out Hackney. So I got inspired to learn Spanish really because I was planning to do like a 4 to 6 month trip in Latin America. I wanted to visit Mexico, I wanted to go to Colombia, I wanted to like figure out what was next for me kind of professionally, as well as just live abroad and add that to my lived experience. And here we are a year and 4 months later and we're still doing it. So I guess Latin America is pretty awesome and it's pretty addictive. So I wanted to learn Spanish simply so that I could, it was kind of like a week or two before where I thought, maybe I should learn a bit of Spanish. Just a random thought that popped into my head. I guess having been on holiday before, I didn't feel like super inequipped to just exist in a different country, even though it wasn't an English-speaking country, because I feel like I'd been to Spain and I'd been to kind of lots of countries in Europe where they don't speak English as their first language, and English is always available. So maybe a week or two before, I just downloaded Duolingo and started kind of playing and just messing around with the app. It's a really fun app. But I remember just before going, I went with some friends to a Cuban party in London and I accidentally bumped into some girl and she replied in Spanish and I was like, oh my God, I know some Spanish. And I very quickly realized, I guess in that moment when she said nombre, that I didn't even know how to say someone's name. And like the stuff that I had been learning on Duolingo at the time just didn't really prepare me to actually live in the real world. Maybe if I had like been learning for a year before, it would have been awesome. But with 2 weeks before traveling, it didn't put me in any position to learn. So I very quickly was like, okay. When I arrived in Mexico, like I just knew how to say like como manzanas, like tú comes manzana, el gato. Like it was very random stuff to do with like the cat, the apple, like really random stuff. So really I just started learning through conversation. And for the first 6 months that I was in Mexico, I was in Mexico City, Playa del Carmen, Tulum. Like I really just learned through speaking. Like the amazing, lovely people in coffee shops would just help me. They would just like teach me how to order food. Quiero, puedes darme, me gustaría tener. Like all these phrases I just picked up through talking every day, every other day, and really just annoying all of the lovely staff in the coffee shops. And it wasn't until probably about 6 months into my journey, I went to Colombia, specifically Medellin, and I joined the Spanish school. So I ended up joining a school called Blink. It was a great experience, but I guess just personally there was a few challenges. As a person who didn't stay kind of on site, getting to like an 8, 9 or 10 a.m., 8 or 9-ish, kind of between 8 and 9 a.m. class start, with a commute in the morning, partying in Medellin if I'm honest, and having fun, and then getting to class was just quite inflexible, I guess. Even though I felt like the teachers were awesome and it's a great place to learn, it was just very inflexible and the inflexibility just didn't really work for me. But it was an amazing experience I did for a few weeks and I was there. And then I kind of, traveled in Brazil, went home for like a few weeks, I went to Brazil. And it wasn't until I was in Argentina where I ended up living for 3 months, I re-attempted to join a Spanish school because I was like, cool, I want to continue learning. In this interim period, I just used quite a few audio stuff online, like language transfer, and which was great, and just a couple other resources. But it wasn't really something that I felt like I was in a curriculum level working through investing in learning Spanish on like a weekly cadence. So I kind of felt like I needed like a teacher or to join a school. So my intention when I was in Buenos Aires was to join a school. So I joined the school called Wanderlust. And the challenges that I mainly found was again, the flexibility was tough. Like, the school was designed around people coming every day for an immersive experience. I was working online and I was, coming in a couple of times. I wanted to do it for a couple hours a week, 2 to 4 hours a week of studying, nothing more, nothing less. I felt like I was interested in learning Spanish for the long run, not like a short immersive experience I'd already kind of experienced. But the school was really designed, the group classes were designed for the immersive, so it would feel like when I went in for 1 week on Tuesday and Thursday, there was stuff they learned on Monday that I had no context on, and stuff they learned on Wednesday that I had no context on. So I very quickly realized it wasn't the answer. So I ended up asking a friend of mine who I met in Medellin, where she'd studied, and she'd kind of been a bit better at sampling the different schools. And she just mentioned that she really liked BaseLang. So I'd heard of BaseLang from when I was in Medellin because of their grammarless class, which was like, they'll take you from 0 to X. So obviously I knew of it, but because I spoke a bit of Spanish, I didn't feel like it was personally right for me. But I kind of decided to give their real world program a go. So this was, I guess, back in May of this year. So I guess I've been using the platform for about 4 months, May, June, July, August, about 4 months. Have done probably around 30 hours of Spanish. So I'm not sure what that is. I haven't been the most consistent. So I guess I've averaged maybe like 7.5 hours a month. But the thing that's been, incredible for me, I think, is, again, the flexibility. Times in Buenos Aires, they party quite late in Buenos Aires. At like 9 p.m, I'd hop on a class for half an hour to an hour before popping outside. And I've just found that very impactful because it would just allow me to, like, when I need to hop in a class, when I can hop in a class, if I can't make a class, which I guess isn't great for discipline, I have the flexibility to reschedule it, rebook it, cancel it. And all of the teachers are following the same curriculum. This was the best thing for me because originally I think I tried italki when I first started, which has a lot of similar aspects to BaseLang, which is there's many teachers and you have the opportunity to choose your teacher on demand and like work with someone most of the time. The problem with italki for me was that, like, I would try a teacher, if I liked them, they weren't available the next time. The next person I would choose would have to figure out my level and then start from scratch. And I found that quite tough because it was just frustrating to have to restart with every teacher and teachers weren't always available. So, and I guess honestly I need flexibility. So this was kind of amazing because it was inspiring to be able to have all you can eat, so unlimited. And I've probably done more classes than I would have based on my schedule if I'd only been connecting to like an hour or 2 a week. I've probably done more because I probably averaged just about 2 hours a week every month, just about. So I kind of need to get more classes in, clearly, because my goal is 4, so I'm about 50% of the way there. And, really I've just found the most valuable parts and the bits I've enjoyed the most is that, like, I have the opportunity to always have a teacher available who knows my level because there's notes, and I'm just learning from the same curriculum. And honestly, for a person like me who's quite busy and often is kind of chasing their schedule and trying to fit stuff in, like, the flexibility of honestly being able to cancel whenever I need to and book 5 minutes, a minute, 10 minutes before I need to has been the most impactful thing for my learning. So I would recommend BaseLang really for people who value flexibility, who have an appetite for the long run to go on a curriculum and learn Spanish, and who just want to learn in a way that's really flexible. I think the flexibility is incredible. It allows me to stay motivated and not feel like I'm wasting money, I guess, when I'm missing classes because I have to cancel. So yeah, I would honestly recommend BaseLang. I think it's a great platform. And I look forward to continue learning it, using it until I'm fluent, or I end up, in a loving Latin relationship. No, I'm joking, sorry. Half joking. But no, honestly, BaseLang is great. I'd recommend it. I look forward to continue using it. So I hope this review helps you. My Spanish has definitely come a long way in the last year and 4 months. Most definitely the time I spent in Argentina, which kind of BaseLang was a big contributor to, because I learned a bit more of a structural Spanish that I didn't learn through just conversations. So anyway, that's my story. I hope it inspires you. Spanish is a beautiful language. It's very fun to speak. It's very fun to simply learn a second language. English is the only language that I've been speaking my whole life. I'm 29. So yeah, enjoy. Ciao.